How many soft skills are there? Is it 10, 28, or 60? I stopped counting at 107. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I got to the number 107. I was trying to compile a list of soft skills. I got to 107, and I was like, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. It makes no sense. Nobody can ever master. Nobody can ever master that many skills, and that's why it was so. People get so confused, and employers are always saying that entry-level employees, new employees, and even employees looking for promotions are lacking soft skills. Now, there's a principle, as you all. This is a side note. Something that's called the Peter principle. I'll say it again. The Peter principle. It's a good principle for you to know. And that is, people tend to get promoted to their level of incompetence. So successful people, wherever they are, they tend to rise to the level of incompetence. That means you keep moving up so hard, so high until you reach a point where, like, if I had stayed one level before that, I would have been perceived as a genius. But for some reason, people tend to get promoted to their level of incompetence. And if you don't believe me, keep working long enough and you'll be one of those people saying my boss is an idiot also. That's how it works. Yeah, that's a common complaint. They're like, how did you get up over here? And unfortunately, people tend to get promoted to the level of incompetence. And that tends to be where, not where their technical knowledge runs out. That tends to be where their soft skills have kind of started reaching a limit and they have stopped developing them further. Okay. So here are my soft skills clusters, because the thing got to be too crazy. So I said, let's put it into nice, simple clusters. When you learn in math, they don't teach you everything at one time. They say, here's addition, here's multiplication, here's division, right? Okay, here go exponents and things of that nature. So they break it out. Here's subtraction. What they do is they broke it down into simple functions, into simple groups for you. When you're learning the elements on the periodic table, they say, here's some noble gases, right? Here's some metals. Here's some things of that nature. This is a solid. This is a liquid. You know what? Because what they're doing is they're breaking things down into manageable chunks. So instead of worrying about all these skills, what you all can do is, because this is one of the things we noticed in the pre-assessment survey, that is, you all were wondering how to pull out the soft skills that an employer is looking for, either a potential employer or when you're looking for a promotion, you're like, okay, what are they looking for? How can I find that? And so it'll be easier for you to pick those things out if we look at it in terms of functions or abilities instead of trying to look for a whole bunch of different words to describe them. Let me tell you what I mean. Communication in the chat, or you can unmute yourself right now. I don't want to know what communication is. I want to know, you explain to me, if somebody is a good communicator, they are an effective or efficient communicator, what does that mean? Describe that. What does that mean? Give it to me in one phrase or one sentence. You can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat, either one. What does it mean if someone is good at communication? Well, how do you know that? Give me something that's a performance measure or some type of behavioral indicator. Rashawn said they can relate. Go. Who's talking? Go ahead.
Clarity of translating ideas.
Who said that? Is that who said that? David? Okay, thanks. So David said that. Clarity of translating ideas. I'm going to run with that one. You know why? Because that is a perfect way to, that's very close to what I say. This is what I tell people. It's the ability to send and receive clear messages. So forget all the skills in communication. If you don't know what they all are, it doesn't matter. We could list 50 different skills under the communication cluster, things that you need that will make you a better communicator. What I'm saying is, if you're proficient in this particular cluster, that means you have the ability to send and receive clear messages. Now, there's all types of ways to send messages. Could be an email, could be a presentation, right? Could be a letter. It could be your resume, it could be a cover letter, right? If anything like that means you're sending a message. How do you receive messages? It could be listening, right? It could be reading, okay? It could be figuring out what's being said. I've got to decode this person's language, or I got to read their body language. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter which one of the skills you're using. If an employer is looking for somebody that can communicate well, they need you to be able to send and receive clear messages. That's the bottom line for communication, okay? All right, let me look at the chat real quick. Someone else typed something in here. Yes, Austin said, able for more than one person to understand what you're talking about. Absolutely. The ability to include listener as you prepare to deliver a message. I agree with you too, Donna. That's great. Good stuff right there. Very good stuff, all right? So let's keep moving to the next cluster. Decision-making and problem solving. Describe that. How do you know when somebody is good at decision-making and problem solving? Describe that. What do they have the ability to do? Yes, go ahead, say it again, David.
Solutions.
I like it. He said, find solutions. Anybody else, you can type it in the chat or unmute yourself. Either one is fine. That's a good one. I'm going to stick with that. Bring about workable solutions. I agree, Dr. John. That's a great one. So let me go. Let me tell you all what I said here. See, this is common sense. So the ability to recognize, create, and choose effective options and solutions. That's it. That is, there's a problem, there's something I didn't know. I can recognize it. I can see my options, or I can create these options, or I can choose from the set of solutions that they provided for me. A lot of times in the workplace, they will have given you a set of solutions already, right? I remember that happened to me one time when I was a chef. I left. I went to go do a tasting for a wedding. I told this guy at the lasagna, he was making lasagnas. I said, I think we needed 3 dozen lasagnas that day or something like that. When I came back, he had made 6 lasagnas. That was it. He made 6 lasagnas. I hit the roof. Why'd you only make 6 lasagnas, man? I told you we need like 3 dozen lasagnas. You only make 6. What's the problem here? He said we ran out of cheese. Okay. Now, if we run out of cheese in the kitchen, I was the executive chef. He was one of my cooks, and I needed him to make lasagnas, right? And he didn't make them because he said we ran out of cheese. Whose fault is that we ran out of cheese? Anyway, you can type it in the chat. Whose fault is it that we have no cheese?
The whole team.
It could be, okay, David said it could be the whole team, right?
Somebody saw it was low and then get some more. Multiple people saw it was low and then get some more.
Okay, there we go. So there's option number 1. Somebody maybe saw it was low. They could have gave me a heads up or something like that, right? But let's say in the grand scheme of things, I'll take responsibility, right? So let's say I'm the executive chef. It's my job to make sure the cooks have what they need to succeed, right? You can't make 3 dozen lasagnas if you don't have enough cheese. Okay, here's the problem. The problem is, I agree with that if we were out of cheese or we didn't have enough cheese. You want me to tell you what the problem is? This is the problem. The problem is that I trained this guy personally. This guy, I hired him, I brought him, I trained him. On his station, there's a big giant recipe book. Now, in this book are instructions and recipes, right? And it has all types of information that you need in there. On the page for making lasagna, right? This guy's mad because he said I couldn't make lasagnas because we didn't have mozzarella cheese, right? All right. In big red letters on the page, the recipe page for lasagnas in this particular restaurant, you know what it said? It said, boom, big box. If you run out of mozzarella, use a Monterey Jack and provolone blend. Guess what was in my cooler? Like 50 pounds of Monterey Jack and provolone cheese. So he's sitting there, he didn't make the lasagna because we didn't have any mozzarella. But number 1, that's terrible decision making and problem solving. Let me tell you why. First of all, he couldn't even choose from the options that I provided him. You didn't even have to create a solution for that one. It was right there in front of you. I just needed you to use the resources that you have. Think about that. Okay. Rashawn said, oh, ricotta. That's true. You could use some ricotta in there, right? So this is a following instructions thing. So not only could he not recognize or see the options that were laid out in front of him, he didn't even bother. All around him in the kitchen, he wasn't the only cook. It was like 15 or maybe 17 other cooks there. He wasn't the only one. And some of them have been working for much longer than him. He didn't even go over to anybody to say, hey, I can't find the cheese. Chef said make the lasagnas. I ran out of mozzarella. Y'all got any ideas? He couldn't even recognize that he could go ask someone or to be able to create these options. That drives employers bananas. I'm telling you all right now. When they did the survey asking employers what skill was lacking the most and what skill did they want the most in their entry-level to mid-level employees, they said problem solving. 90% of the employers, this big national survey that they do every year, 90% of them said problem solving and decision making is at the top. Number 1, they were highly upset. Okay, so please keep that in mind. The ability to recognize, create, and choose effective options and solutions. Now, notice I'm not listing skills. I'm giving you clusters so that you can recognize behaviors and you'll be able to say, okay, I can see that I need to be able to do this, all right? Or I can do this. Teamwork and collaboration. If you are good at teamwork and collaboration, what does that give you the ability to do? Anybody, tell me, what does that, if you're good at teamwork and collaboration, what does that give you the ability to do?
Accomplish more than you could do individually.
I like that. So you could accomplish more than you could do individually. I'm a roll with that. 1 + 1 = 3. Thank you, Dr. John. You get more done. Solve many problems. I like it, Dr. John. Yes, solve many problems. I agree. Let me give you all what I'm thinking here. So I'm thinking if you are effective in this particular cluster, right? That means you had the ability to work with others towards a common goal or objective. That's what that means. It means I can work with somebody else other than myself and get something done. And y'all know that's not easy. Yeah, y'all know in the workplace that is not always the easiest thing. Sometimes people get on your nerves from top to bottom, right? Or sometimes you have a hard time figuring out where you fit in. And sometimes leaders have a hard time making sure they get people in the right roles and in the right positions so that they can succeed. All right. So somebody said delegate. You know what? I could agree with that. If you're good at collaboration, you might need to be able to say, hey, somebody else is better suited to accomplish this than I am. I can go with that as well, but that might also fit in the leadership cluster as well. All right, next one, teamwork and collaboration. Now, this one is a little bit more challenging. It took me a minute to figure this out. And let me tell you about these first three. Somebody asked me recently, Al, how come when you were putting your cluster together, you started off with these first three: communication, decision-making, and problem-solving, teamwork, and collaboration? I will tell y'all right now, because we can walk away from the world of work. We can walk away from the world of entrepreneurship, success, anything. We can just go to life. These are your three primary clusters right here. That you come on the planet trying to do these things. These are the ones you do. A baby in the womb, Dr. John just told us a few weeks ago, they can hear. You come into life trying to communicate. When a baby is born, the first thing they do is smack it on the back, smack it on the button. The baby's supposed to holler out, "Wah, hello world, I'm here," right? It's trying to communicate. If it's hungry, it's trying to communicate. It cries. The mom is talking to the baby. That communication thing is a primary cluster of skills for humans. Boom. Decision making and problem solving. New baby just born. I'm hungry. This is a problem. What do I need to do to fix that? Oh, I notice if I cry, I get fed. I notice if I cry, I get picked up, right? This is a natural thing. We start trying to figure this out. I got to decide. Should I touch the stove? Should I not touch the stove? Is it hot or is it cold? This is what we do. This is basic stuff. Teamwork and collaboration. Human beings, listen, we're not equipped to make it on our own. A baby that's born in this world needs a team. They need somebody working with it. I guarantee you that. We start all, I don't care if it's nothing but mother and child. That's the first collaboration we got right there. These are your three primary skills. Guaranteed, I don't care who you are or where you are in life, these three apply. Communication, decision making, and problem solving, and teamwork and collaboration. Those are your three primary soft skills clusters. As you start to advance a little bit more, then you get into these last two clusters. Self-management and professionalism is one. So describe that. It's somewhat this, you know what? I'm just going to put this on the screen because what happened with this one is it took me a long time to go ahead, Dave. You going to go for it? Go ahead, man. What you got?
Yeah, I was going to say understanding your strengths and weaknesses so you can produce a high level of conduct.
You know what? I'm going to go with you because you got high level conduct, man. You could have been on my writing team. We're using similar words there. I'm liking this. Okay. Dr. John is saying, know thyself, thy value. I agree. I'm going to put this up here. It took me a while to get this one together because self-management is so big. It encompasses so many things. Self-discipline. Do I know how to act in a professional manner? This is where personal branding comes into play. This is where your consistency, some of the words you all said, discipline, determination, all these words come under self-management, right? So here's what we say. This is the ability to exhibit behaviors, attitudes, and character traits that are needed to achieve desired outcomes while you conduct yourself in a manner that's on par with the highest standards of your role or position. And I'm going to stick with life again, right? It's some of the same words. See, Dave, you see why I like what you said? We matching up here. Here's the thing. This applies to anybody. We can step away from the world of work again. Don't you all know, if we looked at a family, we would say, y'all see them all the time. You see some kids running through the store. You're like, them some bad kids. You know why you say that? Because you're sitting up here like this child is not conducting itself in a manner that's on par of what you feel the highest standards are for a child. That's their role. You feel like, is this person a good parent or a bad person? Are you a good husband or a good wife, right? Are you a good leader? Are you a good business owner? Are you a good speaker? This is how we judge people. It's about being able to conduct yourself in a manner that's on par with the highest standards of your role or position. In order to do that, you got to exhibit certain behaviors and attitudes, right? That's going to help you achieve your desired outcome. So there you go with that one. And the last one we'll put over here is, hold on, let me see. Somebody just said something as well. that I thought was good. Yes, know your worth. I agree with that, Austin. Definitely got to know your worth. All right, and the last one, this is the final cluster, and that is leadership, influence, and persuasion. Go ahead, David, take a shot at it, man. I just put you on the spot.
Okay.
Just give me
Leadership.
that.
Leadership is the ability to move a large group of people forward. Influence, I would describe as how you impress someone to be able to do something they wouldn't normally do on their own.
Okay.
And persuasion is you convincing someone to do something what you want them to do.
I like it. I can agree with all of that. And so this is what I wrote for that. I wrote the ability to inspire and move people to action. That's all it is. Leadership, influence, and persuasion. I need to be able to inspire. Inspire really means to breathe new life into something, or to give somebody the energy, make them feel like they're going to take action. And then you got to be able to move them to take action, whether that's persuasion, whether that's helping them execute. But that's it. So if you want to know, all right, where you stand with these clusters of soft skills, there it is. If you either have these 5 abilities, and all of us have them in some shape, form, or fashion. The question is at what level and how do we increase those levels? Now, what do you mean when I say all of us have them? Everybody that's here today has them. I guarantee you that. Hey, there's nobody in this chat right here today that doesn't have some type of ability in every one of these clusters. I can guarantee you that. You wouldn't even be here right now. There's no way. Okay. And so the question is, where are your strengths in here? Because that's where your unique personality traits and your unique set of abilities start to come out, and we're going to help you be able to capitalize on that. All right. So here's the